Hello everybody, welcome back down into the dungeon. I'm going to do a little transplanting and otherwise farting around here in the basement today. But I totally forgot what I was going to show you first because I came downstairs, and if you watched yesterday's video, I showed you that one sweet mini bell that wasn't doing well under the big light here. And I think I have a critter in my basement, which would certainly explain why the cat is constantly trying to get down here. Take a look at what's left of this pepper. Sure, it didn't look great yesterday, but there was something here. There's nothing here now, like, at all. And I don't see any residue where it might, like, I don't see it laying on the table anywhere or anything like that. So, what the heck? Like, it looks like something was digging here, and the pepper top is just gone. Now, seeing this kind of thing happen outside, I could write it off to, you know, wildlife messing with me, or some sort of ground worm, or whatever they call those things, those little grubs that come in there and they nibble your plants off right at the stem. But, you know, even outside, those get their nibbled off and then they're flopped over. They're still there. But this is just completely gone. So, do I have like a mouse, or a vole, or a mole, or I don't even know what my prairie options are, coming in here and eating my indoor plants? That is so far beyond uncool. I'm flabbergasted. So I mean, clearly this one is now a dead pepper. Didn't knock over any of my other peppers, but I mean, I guess a little tiny critter would have plenty of room to wander around down here. Oh, that's frustrating. I guess I'm going to have to start setting some traps or whatever. I left that Catchmaster back in BC, but I can find other ones. And I guess I need to let the cat run around down here more often. Which I think he heard, because look what just appeared. Hey, Gordon. If there's a little fuzzy thing running around here, do your job. Take it out, man. Take it out. Doing a little rearranging up here on the shelf because I'm going to make more room for my duplicate types. Although I guess I need to find that remaining sweet mini bell, and that can come back over here. Gonna get transplanted. I guess that'll go into a double cup. Ugh. Makes me wonder if maybe everything that's been going on with this pythos hasn't entirely been the cat. Maybe it's been whatever just ate that pepper plant. But actually, while we're down here on this shelf, one of the things I did remember that I wanted to show you is we have our first blown LED. I unplugged this one this morning because it was flickering away like a madman, and I didn't want it to do anything questionable, we'll say, with the electrical current. I was supposed to be at work today doing an install, but it turns out that's actually next Friday. So I got all hopeful for nothing. One thing we are going to do today is we're going to take this rosemary. I did a quick poll on the... Oh, there goes that poor little spider plant. I guess it's not really that little though, is it? Anyway, I did a quick poll on the Patreon page as to which herb I should transplant into one of those 3-gallon fabric containers. And the only answer I got was the rosemary. So that's what I'm going with. A, because, you know, that's what the Patreon voted for. I was kind of thinking maybe I'd get more feedback on that. And B, I kind of wanted to replant the rosemary anyway. It's a slow grower, and if it can do better in one of those fabric planters, then great, because I love, oh, the smell of rosemary. That is just so potent. Knocking this around. Smells really good. So, we'll be transplanting that today. I am going to get around to transplanting some of these other pepper starts today too. Definitely want to get the last of the garden salsas out of there. Not sure I'll be able to get all of these kale out, but if I can get the garden salsas out and clean out those cells completely, put some fresh soil in there, start some more peppers, because I don't think I've got any ghosts growing in all of this yet, and that clearly doesn't work. The yellow ghost was fairly productive for me last year, so I'll definitely need a few of those. And I've got chocolates and red ghosts as well, so I'd like to have the full variety, you know? So yeah, I'm going to clean out those 3 garden salsa cells for sure. Throw down some ghost varieties. I don't know if I should wait on these strawberries or not. Kind of thinking there's not much point in waiting on this green kale, and there's really not much point in waiting on the black beady eggplant, so we're just going to toss that label. Pretty sure if I put a pepper seed in the eggplant thing, and then, you know, I'll know which one pops up by the time they get their true leaves. The eggplants have that wonderfully different sort of velvety kind of texture to their leaf anyway, so yeah, much to do, but definitely want to start off with transplanting that rosemary. So, this little 3-gallon fabric pot looks so small, but at the same time, clearly does the trick. Oh, something else I wanted to show you. Shock's found these for me as they were cleaning up the shop. Old produce trays, so I'm going to be able to use those underneath a lot of my plants as kind of drip containers and basic spacers, really, because on these shelves here that I love so much because you can adjust the height, when you're using all these little cups, sometimes they kind of wobble on these flat areas here, so I've got an old cookie sheet. Shh, don't tell Shocks. And hopefully I'll be able to switch out the plants in here before I get in too much trouble for misappropriation of kitchen goods. Gordon, keep your paws off the plants. There's a fuzzy thing down here you need to hunt. That's your job. You just want to lay in the light. Oh, I get it. Those plants have dibs, dude. Plants have dibs. So you can see there's still a lot of pepper starts on that one Grandpa's Siberian Hobe. I did try and go through here and cut off a bunch of them, but some of them, there's just so many on there. Like this matchbox, I cut a bunch off of there. Even with those little tiny scissors, it's kind of hard to get in there and cut them all off. So we'll just have to see. Full on topped this one super chili because it was just too packed. But trying to figure out what to make my video about, and my brain keeps coming back to this missing pepper. I guess really step one is going to be to dig this puppy out of the planter. The soil in here is not bad, so I'm probably just going to mix it in with this. I'll add some more perlite, bulk it up a little bit, and then yeah, we'll pop this into that fabric planter. So some of you may have been around back in the Seeds of the Day episodes. Oh look, worm! Alright, Mr. Worm. Oh, you're a big one too. Look at you. Very nice. I'm going to put you down here. You can work it. A little tea bag and all kinds of fun stuff there for you. Work it, Mr. Worm. But I planted this from seed shortly after we moved here. And as you can tell from what came out of all of the soil, it was growing in one of the double cup things for a while. And it really seems to have kept that shape because everything else just fell right off, which unfortunately includes a fair bit of root growth that had developed since it's been in the pot. But after I took it outside, it grew a little bit, not much. Brought it back inside to try and overwinter it. This is a success story for overwintering. Unfortunately, you know, the peppers didn't do as well, but this has done fairly well. I was kind of expecting more of an upward growth on this, but it seems to be a sprawling variety of rosemary. But this thing has taken forever to grow. I mean, I did harvest some off of it around Christmas time, I guess. It's just nice to have the smell in the house. We don't do the whole evergreen thing, but it smells pretty close. Close enough for me to be happy anyway. Really is too bad about all these roots. Alright, I need to grab some perlite, mix that through, and then we'll get this sucker back into a planter. Now, I do realize that there are much cheaper ways to get perlite, but unfortunately I just don't feel like making the drive to a big proper nursery because I'm looking at like an hour plus for that. So these little $5 bags are just going to have to do for now. And I'm kind of okay with that, you know, like it's not the best price out there, and I do try and keep my gardening as cheap as possible because I am a thrifty guy, yes, for the most part anyway. I mean, you know, that AeroGarden obsession aside, I do try and keep things pretty affordable. But really, $5, basically one bag mixes into 3/4 of this tote, which we figured out the other day, roughly 8 gallons. So I mix a $5 bag of perlite into 6 gallons of soil, and it bulks up really nicely. I'm much happier with the way this stuff looks than, well, the just soil that this came out of. I'm certain the drainage is better. I just feel better about it all the way around. So anyway, I'm going to mix this up, and then I'll go grab that fabric container again. Well, that tray works out well for the little 3-gallon planter anyway. Slide it to the back when I get it on the shelf again. Rosemary looks nice in here. I'll be able to give this a good thorough watering. And as I understand it, as it puts out roots to the side, they're going to get to the edge of the fabric pot. Air or light or the combination of the two will cut the root off naturally, and they'll spread out side roots. And in theory, this thing should get monstrous and massive, and I should just be like super duper happy, because as I've mentioned a couple times already, I love the smell of rosemary, and I just can't stop playing with it because it smells so good. And this is a very sticky version of the rosemary plant. Like, wow, I wish you could smell that. Oh, so good. Messing with poor Gordon's reality a little bit. I spent the last 1.5 years telling him he's not allowed down here. What's the first thing he goes for is the spider plant. Leave that alone. You're supposed to be looking for mice or something. Do your job. Do your job. You have one job to do, cat. And it is not eat the spider plants. You can be down here, but don't eat the spider plants. I will use the weaponized water. See? You made me do it. Clearly we're going to have to work on this understanding of the basement rules. Oh well. And of course we're going to want to water this sucker in really well. I'm just pouring it right on the middle of this thing. You can kind of see it seeping down the edges already, but I'm not worried because it's in that produce tray, which seems to have worked out really well. I can get a 3-gallon bag in there and 5 of the party cups. So that's not bad. Water, water, water. Lots of water. Just doing a bunch of binge watching today, catching up on videos. Reminded by Dave, always water your transplants, which is a good idea. Got some spotting going on here. I think this might just be from spraying them in such a dusty environment. But I'm going to fill up that big pressure sprayer with just plain water. And if it's soap residue or anything like that, hopefully we can wash it off. It seems to be on an awful lot of these plants. Anyway, grow little rosemary, grow. So I was rummaging around in amongst all my assorted supplies, and I found I do actually have an extra 3-prong timer. So I'm kind of thinking I need to dig out Grimace's arrow garden, or aeroponic garden, or whatever these things are technically called. Kind of switch places here. And hopefully it'll get enough light from this LED, because I still need to cut some of this El Oro de Ecuador down, and I would really like to have more plants of this. So we're going to try cloning it in that thing. Hopefully today, but I don't know. We'll just have to see what the day has in store for me. It's been a weird one already, so yeah. It's always interesting though when you get up and you get all psyched and you're ready to go to work, and then you're like discovering that they don't need you for a week. Happy joy, happy joy. Tell you, it's a good thing I've got y'all and YouTube, or I just don't know what I would do to fill my hours. Alright. Well, I guess that's enough mucking around with the garden salsas. I've now got like 8 of them planted around, and since they are a pepper that produces in my tiny little growing window, I should actually get some decent results from that, so that's good. I think at this point I'm going to dump out the rest of what's in those particular seed cells and see if I can find some other seeds to get in there. Get some variety going, you know? Yay! Alright, so a bit of crazed cleanup later. I've got this switched over. Hopefully it'll get some of the light from this when the overheads are off down in the dungeon. It's not really a lot being provided from the overhead right now. Actually, just twisted that one off. So that should be the light that it gets. I'm going to try doing some clones in this area here. And let's take a look while it's still off, because I got the timer plugged in. You can kind of see what's going on. Some very thin, that looks like maybe even 1/2 inch, not even 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Some of those irrigation misters Nice heavy-duty pump. And yes, the water in there is filthy, but in theory, when this comes on, it'll spray the bottom of the stalks that go in there. Oh, I think it just came on now. So, because some of those misters are a little gibbled, I have to pick and choose which of these spots are actually going to get some of that moisture. But I've got a lot of spaces available, and you know, they're easy enough to order online. So I'll pick up a bag of like 10 or 15 or whatever they are, packaged as on Amazon. Fix this up for him because I appreciate the loan or gift. I gotta talk to him about that, but anyway, he didn't want it back as last garden season was approaching. So I'm hoping he won't want it back as this one comes up, but we'll just have to see. So here is the El Oro de Ecuador, and it's got a lot of new growth on it, so I don't feel too bad about the cuts I'm about to make, especially since they are going to be hopefully turning into more plants for me. Now, if I can find my pruning snips. Now it's just a matter of where do I clip it and why. I guess I'm going to start with here. I'm going to cut these down into smaller chunks for actually trying to root, but that one, you know, I should probably do this two-handed. One sec. So here we have the chunks that I just cut off of there. I should be able to get a couple of cuttings out of this monster here, hopefully a couple of cuttings out of this one. I'm going to cut here and here, so hopefully this will turn into 3 pieces. I'm not quite sure what to do here. So all the nice looking leaf growth is down at the bottom, and this little tiny one I'm just going to have to pretty much leave it the way it is. I'll break the little leaves off here and tuck them in. So yeah, I guess I'll clip them, tuck them, and we can take a look at well, how it's sitting. Alright, so that went way quicker with 2 hands. I have 14 little bits of pepper sticks stuffed in here, and I've tried to strip any leaves off the bottom that would be in there so they won't interfere with potential root growth. They're all of varying lengths and thicknesses and all of that jazz. This one here doesn't even look like it's got any leaves on it at all, but I'm still hopeful. So yeah, 14 little cuttings into this aeroponic garden, and it does function on some different principles than a standard aero garden like we've been talking about so much lately. But I'm hoping that with this on the timer, getting the good light from the LED here, if I could even get one of those puppies to root, I'd be pretty happy. 2, I'd be ecstatic. All 14, I would be over the moon. But waiting is. And on that note, I'll probably wrap up today's video here. I got some more seeds that I'm going to throw down in the 72 cell, but there's nothing new there. So yeah, a little bit more transplanting, a little bit more seed planting. What a surprise. And yeah, that is pretty much all I have to say about that today. I'm probably going to be lurking around in the chat, watching the live stream tonight. Very curious to see what Rev and the boys are going to get up to. And, well, I hope to see you there. Alright everybody, take her easy, alright? Okay, see you tomorrow.